Welcome to Two Guys Whining About Retirement. It's the only show where you're going to get a wine review and some great financial advice along the way. I'm Troy Frazier. I'm your advisor. And joining me, as always, my co-host, Bryan Rose, who my wine aficionado, co-host, do-it-yourself investor.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Always good to see you.
Well, let's learn a little bit more. Where we were talking about for steps 1 and 2 on the previous episode. Let's dig deeper and go into steps 3 and 4.
Perfect. That's what we're going to do. It's called My Fearless Retirement Roadmap. So if you go to www.myfearlessretirement.com, you're going to find the way for yourself to sign up, set an appointment with me, have a half-hour discussion, figure out whether this is right or wrong for you. It's a retirement process in 5 simple steps. And we covered 1 and 2. Now we're going to do 3 and 4. But before we get to 3 and 4, we got to do the most important part of this show, in my opinion, and that's your wine.
Right. We got to convert you to a wine drinker. So, and we're into reds at this point.
Okay.
It's a little bit cold weather. So I went to Australia for this one. Hopefully I'm not going to screw up the pronunciation, but it's a 2017 Darrenberg Shiraz, the Dead Arm. It gets 94 points rating from James Suckling. We're looking at an impressive build of ripe dark fruit and chocolate flavors as it coats the palate. It's very smooth and gentle, a little bit of spice on the finish there. So,
can we see the bottle so we can put it up here so folks can see it? I'm a big visual, right? So if I see it and those things. Yeah, I can feel that chocolatey kind of flavor there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Well, as we kind of sip on this as we go along, let's get into steps 3 and 4 and talk about that a little bit. So step 3 is going to be tax planning. So we did the income planning, the investment planning. Now we got to make sure our whole plan is tax efficient. Okay. Tax planning can be almost as important in some cases as your investment planning can be, because any money you save in taxes is just like having a great return. Right? So a lot of people that are even behind the 8 ball, if we can get taxes out of the way, off of Social Security, those things, they all of a sudden are in a great position. So tax planning can be very important. So after we're done with those things, we have a team of CPAs. And, CPAs are interesting. I know the ones out there are probably yell and scream when I go through this. But I really put them in 2 categories. You've got the CPA that's a historian, and that's the person that you take your documents to every year at tax time. They put this document in this corner and this document over in this box, and they match it up, give you your tax return, and you never hear from them again.
Okay.
Then you have the CPA that's more of a planner. They're going to look at what did, and then they're going to, along the way, they're going to call you back and go, hey, Brian, if we did this and this year, next year we can bring those taxes down, and they show you ways to erode these taxes. So we do taxes here in the office, but we have our tax people, and then we have our planning people. It's like left-right brain kind of a deal, And so we get them involved, the planning piece. And then that planning piece, either we give it to you and you can take it to your CPA. We're not there to bother that relationship, and we work with them. Or we can take it and we're going to do taxes and those things for you, and we take that piece there. But not only do we like diversified income coming from multiple streams, but we like taxation diversification. Because if you see taxes in some period raise really high, maybe some of that money can come out of your non-taxable money and keep you in a lower bracket until they come back down. So we can use some control there. So tax planning is very important.
So it's important, it's kind of like you talk about like the bucket strategy. You have different buckets of money. It's tax deferred, you have taxable, and where do you, if you're lucky enough to retire early, what do you want to do there? And so it's all very situational. What's the timing of it? What's the magnitude of the decision you're making, and how to be more efficient? And that's one thing that, again, it's the accumulation piece and then how you unwind. And it's like, if I can get ahead of it, I can be in a better position to win.
Right, absolutely. And so that's a diversification of those different buckets. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'll hear people, they always say, always start with X money first and then work your way to the right on that. That's not always the case. And so everybody's situation can be a little bit different. And that's what we are. We're customizing this for you. Okay?
Perfect.
So that's going to be our tax piece. Another piece that's in there that is real important is going to be that long-term care piece. As people are living longer, more and more people are going to need long-term care. And I have people all the time go, Troy, I don't need long-term care. It's expensive. I hate the insurance companies. And, my CPAs told me I can self-fund. I'm self-insuring. Well, get that in writing from the CPA. One, they shouldn't be giving you investment advice. Two, when you do run out of money, your heirs will then be able to sue them and recover that. And I've seen that actually happen, where somebody's got $3-4 million. CPAs told them they can self-insure. And sure enough, they stayed at home. They went through all of their money. And then the heir comes back and goes, what happened to my inheritance? And we're like, well, we tried to give them long-term care, but they said that and that the CPA gave them the advice. They get sued. They lose in court.
Wow.
So as a fiduciary, which we are, I'm a Series 65 fiduciary, I don't like to, if somebody doesn't have a concern, I don't like to make it my concern, right?
For sure.
Not high pressure, not, this is what you should do. I don't do the scary stories, those things. But that's one of those risks that with every client, I have to sit down and go through. And with every client that we're doing planning for and go over that risk. And I show them all the different ways, because everybody just thinks of the one way to get long-term care, like we buy health insurance. We pay the least amount of money, get the most amount of insurance, right? Then when you're 70, 80 years old, they raise the rates on you. You can't afford it anymore. You get rid of it. There are actually other ways out there where you pay money in to the insurance company, and if you never use it, you get back a multiple of that tax-free to your heirs. Okay. When you do go to use it, it comes tax-free to you into your... So there's not a user...
Expensive is relative, too.
That's right.
Just doing the layman's reading in the newspaper articles and the magazines, web posting, blogs, it can be $200,000-$300,000 they're projecting, of retirement money that's for healthcare. That's
right. But here's what happens with this long-term care. I can take $100,000, leverage it. It becomes $400,000 to cover myself and my spouse, and it's lifetime coverage, lifetime income.
Okay. So they can't raise the rates.
That's right.
Okay.
And so there's some things that and if we never use it, that $100,000 I originally invested would go to my heirs, say $160,000. I'm making that number up. I just want to,
for sure.
And they get it tax free. So you don't use it or lose it situation. And so if you've got enough money to retire and to make it, then that's kind of long-term care.
Takes that concern off the table.
That's
so
right.
You can focus on travel.
That's right, and those things, and not have to worry about it. Because look, when you are. And I've heard long-term care salesmen doing this, but they go out to a home. The old school long-term care guy goes into the house, and they're like, oh, I love him. I can help him. I'm going to take care of him. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, sir, will you lay on the floor? Miss, would you come over and pick him up? Well, I can't pick him up. If you can't pick him up at 74, how are you going to pick him up at 85? And he can't get up and, love isn't going to lift you, right? And, kids taken care of. Sure. So it's... And you ever see it, and this is going to be a political statement, but it's the stress that kills you in life.
It does.
And if you think, I had a client one time that, you can get up, you can turn the light off there. I had a client one time, her daughter was in nursing school. She did a long-term care policy, and then she came back, and she had plenty of means. And she came back, she canceled the long-term care policy because she says, my daughter's going into nursing and she can take care of me. I thought, how selfish to take life away from one of your relatives and your daughter that you love. Think about any president goes in the office for 4 years, 8 years, and they come out. They went in, had that nice dark hair, and they come out and it's all white.
It's
right?
all gray.
It doesn't matter what political party. It's not
Even
a
the
statement.
younger guys.
Right? Yeah. The stress is what kills you, and that just sucks the life out of you. And I thought that... Personally, I just thought that was very selfish and that wasn't proper. But here's the thing. I don't harp on people. I give them their options.
Right.
And then if they don't take long-term care, I just have a little paragraph in a letter. They say that Troy explained all this to us. We've declined. It's not right for us. and that's my get out of jail free card, right?
All right, but to be fair, you're just giving a 360 of
That's
all
correct.
of the different things that you need to consider. And look, most of us don't, right?
Yep.
We're wired into our kids, our families, our job, our hobbies. We don't think about those things.
Right. Or the
We're
one
gonna be
way
young forever. We're
right.
never
Or the
gonna be
one
young.
way you know how to take it, you don't know about the other three, right?
For sure.
And so that's the issue. I'm here to coach you under those rocks, give you great information so you can make good decisions.
Perfect.
And that's what we're here to do. So we'll be, as you say, you're going through this process now. We'll be sitting down and going through those things with you also during that time.
Outstanding.
So any other questions on step 3 and 4?
Nothing that comes to mind.
All
It's
right.
Time to rate the wine.
Time to rate the wine. So you can talk for a minute while I take a sip as he goes through now his aeration process.
The aeration process. It's smoothed out a little bit. It's got a little bit of bite.
As it's breathed a little bit,
Of bite. It still could age in the bottle a little bit, but it's a nice balance. It's a smooth wine. It's very similar, actually, to the last bottle we reviewed.
It is. I like the last bottle a little bit. I mean, they're different, right? You got a Shiraz and that was a Merlot.
Right. This is a little bit earthier.
Yeah.
Like you do get the chocolate and some of the black currant and some like very similar to the Merlot that we had. It's a little bit earthier, which some people like it, some people don't.
Yep. And so the palate is good when it's first going. And then right here, I get just that little after bite, but it's just a little boom. And then it's gone. It's not like it lingers.
It's sometimes it's a little bit spicy. I get the spice notes, but it just depends on your particular palate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What do you think cork wise?
I'm gonna say 3.5.
3.5?
3.5 corks.
I think so. I don't think I like it as great as the other one that we give a solid 4 to.
Yep.
And so I'm going to match you two at the 3.5 because I like it. Like I would have this on the shelf at home, bring it out every now and then, drink it, that sort of a thing. But
I did forget to mention this is about a $55 bottle. So
wow. So this is a little
price value. You're a little off versus. The
I
last
like
one.
it when I like a $28 bottle over a $55 price. Doesn't always mean the best. And I want to point out, because one of my favorite wines has a screw top, which is the Miami.
Yes.
I was surprised because that has a screw top, and one of our big local country clubs here, that's like their number one wine that goes out is the Miami, right? And I'm like, I always thought, cork, it's got so it's a little snobbish look at it, but this is a screw top.
It's been transitioned. Like I mean, Australians are environmentally minded. I'm assuming, but it's a screw top, and I think that. People are used to seeing that now. I mean, you get box wine at Costco that drinks very, very well. It's not your dad's box wine.
Right.
So,
absolutely. Anyway. That was not a plug for Costco.
No,
They're not paying
not.
for that. No.
Nicely done.
Sorry. Yeah. Nicely done. Well, cheers. Happy New Year again. And look, folks, if you want to go through a process, you want to kind of put those puzzle pieces together of what retirement's going to look like. Are you on track? Maybe you're right at the door of retirement and you've got to unwind those 401ks, IRAs, and turn them into income, or how you're going to get there with the tax planning, the income planning, all of those things, the legacy planning that we do. Go to www.myfearlessretirement.com. On there, you're going to come down and see a video of me briefly. You're going to be able to click a button, put your information in there, schedule a time on my calendar, 30 minutes, no obligation. We're just going to have a conversation, see if we're able to help you, if we may be a right fit, and then we just kind of go from there. Also, I'm going to show this. This is the key, what's called the key financial data. So this has just come out. So all the key financial data, tax brackets, the new required minimum distribution numbers, they've changed this year. They've been the same for as long as I've been in the business. They changed this year. Yep. All of that is on here. How much can you contribute to a 401k and IRA? What's the income phase out, the child credit? Anything to do, Social Security is going to be on this. If you want a PDF version of this emailed to you, then what you want to do is either sign up for one of those meetings, and then we can get it out to you, or just email Samantha at FrazierWS.com. Samantha at FrazierWS.com. just put in the headline or in the body, say key financial data chart, and she's going to send this PDF over to you. No obligation. Our compliments, I should say. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like and follow us. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up this year for you. A lot of new things going on and changes out there. And thanks for joining us.